Growing up, I heard one thing about the Black Panther Party: guns. Now, this video isn't about the Black Panthers, but stick with me for a minute, or as my students would say, let me cook. Now, we all grew up hearing about Dr. King and nonviolence, and that's great, but I liked that the Panthers were willing to fight back against police brutality and against injustice. Their slogan, or their effort to, quote, police the police, end quote, was not violence for the sake of violence, but self-defense against a very corrupt system. In fact, that whole mindset is reflected in their full name. They were founded as the Black Panther Party for self-defense. But that is where my understanding ended, because nobody ever told me anything more beyond the self-defense and the guns. Until a few years ago, back in community college, I chose to do a report and a speech on the Black Panthers. And I read a book called Picking Up the Gun by Earl Anthony. And that's when everything shifted. Because that's when I found out that the Panthers weren't just willing to fight back, they were, but instead they were feeding thousands of hungry kids every morning through their Black Panthers free breakfast program that eventually became the model for the whole national school breakfast program that we have today. They launched a sickle cell anemia screening initiative that literally caused an act of Congress. They built a school where they educated students in and around their own community, where their students performed 3 to 4 years ahead of their public school peers. They weren't just a gun-toting self-defense organization, they were a community organization. And when I finally saw the full picture, something changed in me. Not just what I knew, but how I saw myself, how I carried myself, my pride in my people's history, in our struggles, in our resilience. And that's what question number 4 is all about. I call it the shift. The question is, how does this change how I move in the world? Not how does this change what I know, not how does this change what I feel, how does this change how I move in the world and what I do now that I see the full picture? Because knowledge without application is just trivia. Question number 3, the mirror from yesterday, showed you something about yourself, about your identity. Question number 4, the shift, is what you do once you've seen it. Now, my school is predominantly Latino, and when I teach my students about the Chicano movement or about the East LA walkouts, I wonder what their shift is. I wonder how they feel, how they are impacted. I wonder how they move differently. I wonder exactly how they shift in the world. Now, the shift doesn't have to be dramatic, it just has to be a turn, even just a small one, because that's what learning is supposed to do. Not just fill you up with information, but to move you, to empower you, to change you. That's question number 4, the shift. Tomorrow, I'll get into question number 5, and it's called the baton. And that might not make sense now, but it will.